Sarah. Thousands of people waited in line to see what the president had to say today, but not everyone was there in support. KIMT News 3's Brian Tabak has been on the ground talking to protesters all afternoon. And Brian, you're joining us live tonight. What's it like down by the Civic Center now?
Well, Katie, mostly you can just hear cars driving by on the wet roads. It's pretty quiet right now. But earlier today, the lines to even see the president wrapped around for blocks, even here to South Broadway. That's where they were met with protesters. They were telling me that they would like to make sure that their voices were heard and even work with the other side. The lines stretched blocks with people waiting for President Trump.
He's standing up for our country for a change.
But not everyone is in favor of the commander-in-chief's visit.
I actually made this sign before the inauguration while I was in D.C.
Bruce Berry was among dozens holding a peaceful protest, but says he fears losing his right.
If more people actually don't show up for engaging in where the country is actually going, we may not, a year from now, be able to actually stand on the corner and do this, because I have a little bit of fear of what's going on.
Barry says the only way to do that is to start a conversation with those on the other side of the aisle.
It would be nice to be able to engage and have a conversation, sit down with the folks that are actually walking by.
But when I asked those waiting in line if they'd be willing to work with those protesting,
They don't want to work at all. They don't like to work. That's the point. If they were willing to stand up and do something for themselves, they wouldn't be out here.
Larson says there are a number of different reasons why he's waiting blocks away from the Civic Center to see the president.
He's pro-life, he's pro-growth, he's good for the economy, and there might be a little pain right now on certain sectors, but I think it'll all come out well in the end.
While Barry and Larson don't see eye to eye on the issues, Barry's holding out hope that conversation between the two sides will allow him and everyone else to continue to stand on these corners and have their voices heard.
All people need to be more engaged in thinking that this is one world, actually. No borders, none of that.
Katie, while these were meant to be peaceful protests, and they were for the most part, there still was some tension. I heard conversation about Supreme Court nomination Judge Kavanaugh, as well as which party best represents America, just to name a few. But Katie, the lines to get into the Civic Center definitely outnumbered the number of people who were protesting. In downtown Rochester, Brian Tabak, KIMT News 3.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. Among the protesters